Hello. This is Adrian from Jess Karen Astrology, and I wanted to jump up on here and talk about today's full moon in Aquarius, which begins in about a minute from when I'm recording this. This is a big moon. It's a lot of big energy that's coming up, and I'm going to try to break it down as best I can. So let's get right into it, and let me share this chart. Hmm. All right, here we go. Um, so here's the full moon. It's at 6 degrees and 30 minutes of Aquarius. The sun is at 6 degrees and 30 minutes of Leo. And the first thing that you can see when you're looking at this chart is that the sun is conjunct Jupiter, which we will talk about, and the moon is conjunct Pluto. So Pluto at its base is about metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is about change from one form to another. And it's about kind of like it's like the transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly. And this is what's happening to humanity and to each of one of us on an individual level. We're going through big change. And I know that each one of you can has experienced the deep change on a personal level, and we're all watching our external world change, and that's not going to stop. I want to talk about Pluto in Aquarius just as a general thing because Pluto will be in Aquarius till I believe 2044, which is a really long time. And by the time Pluto finishes through Aquarius, the world will be a completely different place. So Pluto, like I said, is about metamorphosis. It's also about empowerment. And this is a change to essentially empower the people, the individuals, and through the individuals, all the people. So what I've been writing about is the um, is about how just a few people are at the top and they're holding on to all of the power and all of the resources. And Pluto through Aquarius is to break that up and really restore the power back to the people and to the individual. The moon here at this new phase conjunction. So just a little bit earlier today, the moon crossed over Pluto, and really the moon represents our inner world, ourselves, who we are, who we see ourselves as. And we've seen ourselves in where, when the moon, anything that touches Pluto really goes through a metamorphosis. And the moon goes through this once a month. And interesting at this full moon, which is the completion of a cycle, um, it's a completion of the new moon that happened in Aquarius, um, February 17th. And that was the new moon in Aquarius. It happened, um, it was the day of the beginning of the Chinese New Year. It was also a solar eclipse. Now we're going to be experiencing a solar eclipse come mid August, coming up very shortly. Um, but this eclipse really was to begin a new cycle of our individuated selves and a new cycle of the way we experience ourselves within community. And what this full moon is completing that. We've gone through a lot of internal work. We've been empowering ourselves and changing our lives. And now we are completed this energy where we are stepping into who we truly are. That's been the journey to individuate from, oh, you know, people pleasing and trying to seem in a way that the external world will accept us. Aquarius isn't about that. Aquarius is about being our unique, just quirky selves, regardless of how people see us. It's because in the sign of Leo, it's about validation. And what we've gone through is this external validation for a really long time just to stay alive. And we're coming onto this new energy where we know that Jupiter went through Cancer and that we've been expanding our inner worlds, our moon, and we are um, coming into this place where we are really guided from within. And what I've been calling this in my writing is the internal navigation system. And it's because we're ending the cycle of being controlled from outside of ourselves. And you can't just end it without having something from the inside to guide us. And so we have been developing techniques and ways of guiding ourselves from the inside through our emotions, through our intuition. And so now at this opposition, we are ready to step into this new sense of self, this new way to experience love and joy, um, and happiness and creativity and all of these Leonian energies. You know, we are the kings and queens of our own world. And yeah, this is what we're integrating with the ability to be unique. And that's what these two, here, I'm going to clear these. That's what these opposition, this is an integration of our unique self with the ability to shine that light out in the world and to be okay with being a little freaky. So the other thing I want to talk about here, I'm going to recircle this one because, oops, here, let me do that better. Because Jupiter and the Sun are in what we call a cazimi. And the cazimi is when the any planet that touches the Sun within 17 minutes. And you can see this is about 5 minutes apart. When it's more than 17 but conjunct, they say that it's combust. It just burns up that energy completely to dissolve it so that when it crosses, it can become anew. This is instead empowering. It's making the energy even more intense as it crosses the sun. And Jupiter in Leo is really about expanding our intuition, our sense of self, and conjunct the sun, how we shine our light into the world. This is really, really big. And there's a lot of universal push to really step into these roles that we validate for ourselves, that um, we don't need the external world to validate who we are. We just need to step into this ability, oops, to step into this ability to validate ourselves. And that's what's coming on right now with this Kazemi. All right, I'm going to take this off because there's a lot going on here. All right. Um, the 24th, we had Mercury going direct, and it's in the sign of Cancer. At the same time, or 2 days later, we had Saturn going retrograde. And so retrograde is an energy of acceleration. It's like going back over something so that we can see it differently. In the sign of Cancer, Mercury retrograded, and it went back to where we could actually see ourselves in a different perspective, through a different perspective. And now that it's going direct, we're taking this perspective forward. And you can see how that just talking about that, that links up with this Jupiter Sun conjunction. Now, Saturn going retrograde in the sign of Aries is an energy that is helping that. So, Saturn is about control, it's about the structure, it's about our parents, it's about the structure that we've lived under. And it rules Capricorn. So it can rule the society. And when I'm talking about external control, we're talking about Capricorn, we're talking about Saturn. But when it goes retrograde, one becomes extremely personal, and it's accelerating the energy of control from the external to the internal. And so, in the sign of Aries, we are accelerating our ability to become our own boss, as it were, our own parent. Now, once in evolutionary astrology, when Saturn is retrograde, we look to Uranus to discover what this Saturn is about. And this is about breaking free from a perspective that has been guiding reality for a really long time. And as you can see in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury has just recently gone direct, we've been changing the perspective from being external to internal. And that's what this is about. We are creating these strong, um, well-formed and beings that come from the heart. Now, I want to talk about the heart in a little bit because the heart is like the seat of love and of compassion and oh, just creativity and the ability to um, express what we feel on the inside outwardly without any kind of energy that makes us shy away from doing that. And so this energy is really helping us to really crystallize a new sense of self. We've got Neptune also has is going retrograde, and Neptune rules Pisces, and the Pisces is like the energy source. I like to call it the Godhead or the source from which everything emanates from and goes back into. And if you remember back on the 20th of February, so just after the new moon in Aquarius, we began a very new cycle at the 0 degree point of Aries where Saturn and Neptune came together and began this cycle that will last many years um, of crystallizing this new sense of self. We are becoming new beings. And that is what this full moon is. We are really stepping in. You remember me talking about the year of the fire horse. We are getting ready to take off running, and it's taken a while to put things in place in our emotional field, so that we can do so. Not that we won't be nervous to step into these new roles, um, but we'll do it anyway because we can't go back to where we were. So, what else do I want to talk about here? I want to talk about Venus because my moon report ended up cycling around Venus. And Venus rules Taurus and it rules Libra. And in the sign of Libra, it is about relationships and it's about the other. And in the sign of Taurus, it's about the self and the things that we need. So it's about personal needs and the needs of other. And when when Venus is in Virgo, Virgo is the energy of discernment. It's about seeing reality perhaps from another point of view. And really, Mars recently crossed Uranus, and really we began to act on this new point of view. And the point of view being that we are breaking free from external control and we're really moving into an internal control, but we have to see it from the inside. So Mercury has been retrograde in Cancer and it's moving forward. Now, Venus in Virgo, Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. Venus in Virgo is saying, okay, well, let us put some value on another perspective. Let us attune to something that is different. Um, I think maybe at this point I should go to step backward. I jumped ahead to Venus, but I need to really talk about these nodes because what happened at the same time or several hours after Saturn went retrograde, the nodes moved into air, Aquarius and Leo. This is really a very big doorway into our individuality, North Node, and how we have expressed Leo in the past, where we've perhaps shoved Leo down. And now we're going to be integrating this past with the future. We're really stepping into this new energy of the self. This is the time of the self. And really, like I've said in what I've been writing about, it's the time of the people. And as an individual, each one of us makes up the people. And so for the next year and a half, we will be working on developing and integrating this new sense of self, the new sense of individuality. We'll probably get together with other people to help form communities of different purposes that will help to empower all of the people. And we'll start to see this. And I think that this is happening is because Pluto went through Capricorn, where it really is transmuting the way our societal structure is. And we've been watching it slowly fall apart. We're watching it um, before our very eyes. But what I see happening is as this dissolving is happening, we are also building a new community built by the people. And the reason that I jumped to Venus is because we're talking about the resources when we're talking about Taurus. And the resources have been in control of and been held by the a very small group of people at the top, while we are all working very hard to feed our families and maintain our lives, to keep this machine going. And what's happened is there's a discrepancy in the way that the resources are being distributed. Some people, a very few people, have so many resources that they wouldn't even be able to use them in this lifetime. And then there are people without. And not having resources has an effect on our self-esteem. People are just giving up. People are losing their homes. People are living on the streets. We've seen a rise in the homeless, and people are just checking out. And I think that a lot of this has to do with the system and the system that is breaking apart, and the power is going back to the people. And I think that this is what this Venus is looking at. We're shifting our perspective. Um, One more thing. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with this chart, and I have spent a fair amount of time writing about it in great detail, and you can check out my Substack. I'll link it in the comments below. Um, but the other big thing that's happening with this very large Leo energy is that yesterday and until the 12th, which will be the solar eclipse, um, it'll be a new moon in Leo, um, and a solar eclipse, which is just going to push the Leo energy forward for the next 6 months. So this is a big time. It's a big portal, this Lion's Gate, which goes from the 28th of July, which was yesterday, until the 12th, which is the eclipse. And so a portal is opened up that it really is accentuating the Leo energy, the importance of each of us as an individual and what this world might look like if everybody's doing what it is that they love to do, not because we're being forced to by a system that is trying to glean more energy than they deserve, in my opinion, to keep a system going where they can ride at the top instead of sharing all the resources, which is what I think is coming next. Hence these things that I have lined out. I'm going to take them off. So anyway, yeah, big things happening right now. I'm going to mention them one more time before I sign off. First of all, this full moon is intense. It is the culmination of the new moon that happened at the beginning of the Chinese New Year, which was the fire horse. We are fired up and ready to begin this new cycle. And this opposition really accentuates that. Also, we've had Mercury that has been retrograde for the last month and is now moving forward, still in the sign of Cancer, still following its trail where we're going to get to see things about ourselves from a completely different point of view. I've actually had an experience today where I was talking to somebody and said something that I actually hadn't seen before. And it's definitely an example of what happens when Mercury is retrograde and then moves forward in the sign of Cancer. Um, it gave me way more understanding about myself. Saturn going retrograde in Aries is accelerating our internal sense of control, our internal locus of control, and our ability to re-see how we've been giving our power away so that when Saturn goes retrograde in a few months, we will really have a good, strong foundation to move forward with who we are becoming. So I hope this was helpful for all of you. I really thank you for listening. And like I said, I will post my Substack in the comments below. And also, like always, if you are interested in seeing how these energies are affecting you directly, please reach out to me. I will also put my website in the comments below, and we can look at your chart together. So again, I'm going to take this off. I want to thank you all for your attention and um, really have a beautiful full moon in Aquarius and really just embrace who you are and yeah, have love and compassion for yourself. Have a beautiful day and we'll see you next time. Thanks.